All right, we're back. Today we're going to talk about a very important subject, which is safety. Before you start using any type of equipment in the shop, you should learn and know about safety. And there's some very basic stuff that I'm going to go over. There are courses that are 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, and they're constantly talking about safety at the companies and where you'll be working. So it's very important that you keep up with all the training that's there. Don't think that this 10, 15 minute, 20 minute that I'm going to do safety is going to be it. But this is just the beginning of it. All right, so when we talk about safety, and I'm going to write it down here. We're talking about a lot of things that you should be doing to keep yourself safe from being injured. And the very basic thing when you go even on a tour of a shop is to be able to have some kind of an eye protection. Right here I have my glasses. Even though these look like it will keep me safe, something can come right through here and through here. So this would not be considered safety glasses. They're just my glasses for reading and for seeing. The ends are made out of titanium, but they will still not protect me. So if you wear glasses on a permanent basis, you need to have a safety glass that goes on top of your glasses, such as something like this. These are on top, and some are adjustable like this. You can adjust this part to make it longer. But these have the sides that protect you. So if something's coming from the side, it will bounce off of here. And you should put them on, depending on the type of glasses you have. They may or may not fit. But you try to find the best arrangement as possible to have them. There we go. Now you should be able to go into a shop and be able to tour around, or if you're working there, you should be able to work. Now another type of glasses that if you don't have glasses like me and you just want to have the safety glasses is this type of glasses, which are more ergonomic and they're round, and then you can put those on like that. Some of them have different features depending where you buy them. Some of them may just fog. You know, you're there sweating and then suddenly they fog up. But some of them, you buy them and they have anti-fog. Okay. And also you can buy an anti-fog liquid and then put them in there as well, like a little spray. But some of them already come with a coating for anti-fogging. See that? That's kind of fog. And you see how it's dissipating so fast? So these might have anti-fog. And where would you find out if they're anti-fog or not?
Your company?
They're probably on the box. Yeah. Can you hand me the box and bring the box? So when you buy them, usually you buy them in pairs of 12 from different distributors, and they tell you what they are. And they're also shatterproof. Now they're not bulletproof. So if something comes, it bounces off and so forth. These particular safety glasses tells you how to clean them, and it tells you a standard. Here it says meets ANSI, A-N-Z-I, and I'm going to write this down so you guys can later check it out. ANSI, A-N-Z-I. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry, SI. Yep. Which is Standard Institute for Safety. And this one is particular Z87.1. That's the standard that these glasses are following in the manufacturer. In other words, ANSI is an organization that certifies equipment. And they go and get and tested it out, and they check if everything that they say advertise about these particular glasses, protection glasses, these safety glasses, is correct based on what they say. And they give you a particular standard that they follow. So if you go to Z87.1, almost sounds like a radio station, right? So one of you guys look up that Z87.1 and tell me what that standard talks about. See which one of you guys have the fastest internet connection / typing, texting. So while you do that, let's continue. So some of the things that are talking about in these glasses here, according to the box right here, they're ergonomic. Ergonomic, that means it conforms to your body. Oh, you found one? Excellent. Thank you. ANSI Z87.1 meticulously defines the minimum coverage requirements, ensuring that protective gear shields the eyes, face, and surrounding areas adequately. So that's just a little bit of a summary of what it does. But it should give you more information as far as the standard. Here it is. I clicked and I got more information. First, impact resistant. That's one of the things they look at. Impact, if something comes flying, it should be able to withstand to a particular amount. So this, the main objective of that standard is to mitigate the risk of injuries resulting from impact in industrial environments. Optical clarity, that you're able to see it through, right? What good it would be a glass if you could not see through, and so forth. Coverage, how long, how far it covers your face, in this case your eyes. And the markings they need to be. And if you look at here on the edge, on the side, thank you, it also tells you if that standard is there. So right here it says Z87 plus. It's got a little plus, and where it's made as well. So you could check the safety gear that either your employee gives you, or you buy it, or you may want to buy it to a certain standard, even more safe than that particular standard of Z87.1 by ANSI. But this is imperative that you wear at all times when you're at the shop. So again, all the times when you're at the shop, because you may not be working on a particular material, but somebody may be working nearby and suddenly something breaks or explodes, and then it's like airborne, flying through the air, and then you happen to be around there, and then poof, it will bounce off your glasses if it's in that area, and protect your eyes. Last time I checked, they didn't have 3D printed eyes yet. So you only have 2 of them, and it will cost a lot of money to get another eye, and may not match your color if you get an implant. So protect your eyes, very important. Now, one of the most common problems, and people get injured, because people know about safety, and let's say they work at an industry or manufacturer, and they're all safe, right? They wear the glasses, they wear the helmet if they need to, the eye protection, the gloves. But when they go home, and they're working on their own things at the garage or at the car, I don't know what happens, but people forget of safety. They think because they're at home, they're safe. And they may be doing things, grinding, cutting, doing all kinds of things with machinery around them, and they're not wearing the safety that they need to. So one very important thing, the things you learn in safety at your job, if you're gonna use or be doing similar stuff at home, even as a hobby, you may not be selling the stuff you're making. You're making a cabinet, you're making an invention, something. Still wear your safety gear. You may have it in the car if it was given to you, or you may have it in your locker at work. Take the time and go buy another pair if you don't have it. You say, oh, I forgot my safety glasses at work, but I'm going to be doing some drilling and some grinding and this and that. Go get another pair. Then just try to do that job and get injured. Okay? So you should wear the glasses when? At all times when you're in the shop working on things. You would not be wearing the glasses if you're in front of a computer at the computer desk and you have like some area that is protected usually. But if you're in the shop floor and you have to follow all the different guidance that your companies give you on when to wear glasses or not. Now, this will not protect you against X-rays or laser light. If in your job they have lasers, you would have to have special laser glasses, eye protection in that area, and it will be marked and so forth. If you're working near a welding area and they're welding, they need to have protective walls or be in an area where you don't by mistake take a look at it, because as you're looking at a welding job that's being done, and that very, very strong flame, and not only the flame but the reaction and the welding light, that will burn your eyes. It will burn your retina, and you may not be able to see things for days, or it could be a very, very bad injury. So if you see anybody welding around and you see that flash, that light that emanates from when they're welding, do not take a look at that. Try to avoid it. If they had a curtain, they're supposed to mitigate or minimize the brightness of that light. Still, don't look at that. Pass it on. And if you're looking straight, you might be able to still look at it, looking at it with your peripheral vision. So, you know, I will walk kind of like this if that's there. And then, of course, you need to talk to the manager and talk to everybody else, the safety. There's probably a safety officer in the company that they need to know that that particular area that they're welding, they're supposed to protecting the eyes of all those that are around there. And they wear themselves a shield on top of them and a helmet, specialized for welding. So imagine how much more you have to be protected in that case, okay? So eye protection, very important. Anytime we work here at the shop and we're working with materials, putting things together, even as simple as using a screwdriver, things can break, or any other type of process where you're using tools and you're using the equipment, you need to be wearing eye protection. Any questions about that before we moved on? The next thing I would talk about is ear protection. And you can have the ear protection where it covers entirely your ears, but you also need to be aware of your surroundings. So you need to have some kind of a ear protection, but at the same time be able to listen and know where you're at. So it depends what environment you have, how much loudness there is, noise and so forth. But constant noise over a long period of time can cause you to be deaf. So here I have a little bag with some ear protection, but this one is the type that you have to insert in your ears. Now this particular one has this little, I would say kind of like wire or string, kind of plastic. And that's so that you don't lose this, because once this is dislodged from your ear, falls on the ground, it gets dirty, and what are you going to do? You're going to pick it up all dirty and put it back in your ear? No, because you're going to end up with an ear infection or something else like that. But the way you insert this in your ears, first of all, make sure they're clean and new. Just don't grab one that's around. Somebody might have used it. Is you squeeze this and make it small. And this squeezable, it deforms and then it starts conforming back. It's like a little sponge. And then you insert this in your ear, and don't just yank it crazy, you know, just enough. That's it. And you should do the same thing with the other side. And put this behind you. Preferably kind of straighten it out and kind of curve it maybe, so it's easier, it doesn't get tangled. And then you can put this on your other ear. And you press according to how much you want to hear or not. The harder you press, the harder it is to hear. But I think I can still hear you guys. Somebody say something.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you guys. So I can still hear you, but I minimize the amount of noise that could be out there. Now, if this happens to fall out of your ears, hopefully, depending on the angle that you are, that string in the back will catch it. So that's the purpose of this, so it doesn't fall on the floor. And if you need to don't use it and you're doing something, or you need to hear it quickly, you can just take it out, listen. Or you may have one on, let's say the noise is coming from this side, and you're kind of working on this so you can still hear your team and communicate. But preferably, if it's very noisy, you want to have this available, right? Now, I have not tested this if it works on people snoring at night. But you guys can test that if you like. But anyways, so eye protection, hearing protection, very important. Next thing that you could get protected, of course, your head, if you're working in a construction area, and you may need to get a helmet and so forth. So it depends where you work. But if you're working at a machine shop and there's nothing being hung, there's nothing hanging or being past any heavy equipment or anything that can fall, you may not need to wear one of these. Most likely you'll be just like how I am, with eye protection, ear protection if it's needed. Now the next thing is gloves. Depending what you're doing and what area you are and what process, you may need gloves, and there's different types of gloves. And that by itself will be a different video. But when you're working with machines, like in the machining world, you are not recommended to use gloves. And you say, why? There's cutters and things moving around. You may work in a lathe or a turn center, because from experience it's been found that people that wear gloves in a machine world, if you kind of reach and you're about to get close to the spindle, it grabs you, the glove, and it gets clogged in the spindle, and that causes worse injury than if you were to go out and cut yourself a little bit here. So if you're working in a machine shop, you should not be using gloves as you're working in a milling machine. It could be or a lathe or a turn center or a CNC. You pretty much just use your hands. Of course, if you're touching chemicals like cutting fluids, coolants, and so forth, you should be washing your hands, and especially before you go to break or to eat something. You don't want to have hands with coolant or some kind of chemical. Then you're holding your sandwich or at lunch and you're eating it, you will be absorbing it. Also, your skin does absorb chemicals as well. So if you get to touch some coolant and this and that, it also depends on what are the procedures and the safety of your company. You could touch all those things depending on the chemicals. And there is an SDS, there's a folder which should have the safety data sheets of all the chemicals that are in that area, and you should be able to have access to that and see what chemicals you can touch, not touch, use gloves, and so forth. But when you're working mainly on a machine world, machining and operating machines, you don't wear gloves. Now, if you are doing other processes where you could get injured in your hand, you might need to use gloves, and you got to check on that as well. So those are the very basics. But before even thinking about all this safety equipment, which there is a name for it, right? Sometimes people want to call it safety just equipment, but there's a name for it. What is that called? Safety equipment. You guys remember? PPE. Personal protection equipment. That's all this stuff that I've been talking about. The glasses, the earmuffs, the ear protection, the gloves, all that is personal protective equipment. Make sure you have enough of it. And if there's chemicals in the air that are volatile or could affect you and be absorbed by you smelling it, you would have different shields and masks to put on. And that by itself, it's another video. There's a lot to know about that. There's different kinds of them. And we'll make some videos about that. But just right now, there are no chemicals in the air here in this shop. There's just a machine, several machines that we're going to cut material, but everybody should have eyeglasses and so forth. Any questions so far about safety? Another thing, if you got one of these and your friend has one or your coworker has one, and there's probably a lot of these glasses around, and if they leave them around and you leave them, you might get confused. Is that my glasses or is that his glasses? Before you know it, you're wearing his and he's wearing yours. So I would suggest you put a little initials right here, and that way you know it's yours. Because if anybody has pink eye or anything else, they might pass that on to you. Also, this should be clean. You can wash it with just soap and water, many of these. And there's also lens cleaning wipes, materials, and so forth. And depending where you work, they might have those wipes available and cleaning stations. That's the basic safety part. But the most important thing is that you're aware of your surroundings. That you don't fall because there's something on the floor or somebody else falls. And if you find something that's unsafe, you need to communicate and let others know, and you have to do something about it. You and the safety officer or the person responsible for that area. If there's any oil being spilled on the floor or water or even a piece of paper, changes the surface of where you walk. There's of course also foot protection, body protection. One more thing is, as we're working with machines that move and cut and so forth, you also don't need to have anything loose. Like this will be in your ears, so this will be okay. But if you have like long hair, you can't have it out because it could get caught up and then you will be attracted or pulled to that particular machine. And so you got to be careful on what you wear, as well as that you have covered areas. You want to have, if you have a shirt that covers here, or you might need to have a long sleeve shirt depending on what you're doing. Now if you're welding, there's a whole new set of equipment that you need for welding. You got to be totally covered in welding. But if you're working, you gotta have the safety and the clothing. Your clothing cannot be loose. You can't have like collars or jewelry or things hanging around you. Sometimes people have like the hoodies and they have those strings right here that you close your hoodie. You can't have all those things out there because there are areas where they can roll and get caught in some machinery that's moving, like the spindle and so forth. So all those safety things that you gotta watch. Also, of course, your shoes. You need to have closed-toe shoes. Depending where you work, you may need to have boots and some kind of a toe protection, because if something falls, it could damage your legs, your feet, or and cause you injury of all kinds. So you got to check. As far as here, closed-toe shoes are fine. We have a non-slip floor, which should be fine, but always check with your company, if you work there or where you go, and what other safety equipment you need to have. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna have this video available as well so you can watch it again. Thank you.